Welcome everybody. Excited for, we've got some good presentations, I think, tonight. But let's start with reports of government officials. Do we have anybody on the Zoom who wants to give a report? We don't see any of the usual.
Well, Nancy Marsh is here from GCSD.
Okay.
But she's not raising her hand.
All right, I don't see.
Hi, guys. I'm just here to listen tonight. Thanks.
Yeah,
The usual cast of characters is not here.
Yep, usual cast of characters not here. Okay, well then, that's gonna be a fast thing. Then we can go straight to public comment. Do we have any public comment for items not on the agenda? We have Len.
Thank you, I'm Lynn Erickson, resident of El Granada. I'm here to give an update on activities that relate to the Caltrans project called the Multi-Asset Rehabilitation Highway 1. Since it was been presented to the council, adopted by the Planning Commission and passed by the Board of Supervisors, it's on to the Coastal Commission. And I'm part of the effort that did to file appeal to the commission. And I want to give a quick update. These are slides that I've shared in development with the Coastal Commission, yesterday with the Planning Commission for the City of Half Moon Bay. And I just wanted to run through with the people here. So as I noticed before, this is the area of concern on the highway. It's basically going between Coronado and Capistrano. And there are several areas of concern. The primary concern has to do with access to get to the beach and other related issues. So you see on this map, the first yellow circle on the left, that's where Sam's Restaurant is. And that makes considerable use of parking on the highway there on both sides. And then down below in yellow, that's the Surfers Beach area. The GCSD, there's a dirt parking lot in GSD area, as well as the road itself, represented by that line. Yellow line is, there's a lot of parking done there. You also have the RV park, as well as a restaurant in development being managed by the Harbor District. And then you have the coastal trail on in the Armory, which is suffered some damages. So those are concerns. Go to the next slide, please. So this is a Sam's Restaurant area. It shows the Sam's parking lot. And then in yellow, you see the areas where customers of Sam will park on the road. Basically, the road that is being developed, the rehabilitation project plans to put class 2 bicycle lanes on both sides of the, both sides of the highway. And those types of, that bicycle lane does not permit cars to park in that area or even be in there unless they're in transit. So in the case of Sam's, when they were notified about this, they did note that they have acquired land on both sides of the highway. That's the red areas for basically parking that would serve the harbor, but it's also public parking. So that's potentially in use. I would note that when the first presentations were given, I was curious about what Sam's would think about this. So I went to the management of Sam's and learned that they didn't know anything about the project. And the reason they didn't know anything about the project is Sam's and the Beach House Hotel, as well as the RV park, are all in the city limits of Half Moon Bay. How many people here know what that means, that they're in the city of Half Moon Bay? Some do, some don't. It's sort of a surprise because basically that's, there's a long history for that, but all of those are within the city limits of Half Moon Bay. When Caltrans divided the responsibility, they just took the simple borderline between the two areas. And so the county took responsibility there, but it was not aware of this either. So they didn't really talk to those people. So just a concern that came up. Next slide, please. So then down at Surfers Beach, this is the area here. This picture is from Google Earth. It was taken in September 26th of 2020. And it happened to be a date where it must have been a great day because the road, parking on the road was heavily used. And then you can see if you get real close to the map, there's a lot of cars there. Next slide. So I basically identified 5 different areas for parking. In that green area, that's the GCSD dirt parking lot, as it's sometimes referred to. There's parking on Obispo Street all the way up to Coronado. Then you have in red the Caltrans right of way that goes from the parking lot down to Coronado. And then in yellow, the second yellow all the way up. And then the other yellow in the middle there, that's the Caltrans right away, and it's also a popular place to park. Okay, so next slide, please. So just doing a very rough count of this particular day, the 26th of September, I said, well, how many cars are there in the shoulder area north of GSD parking? I said about 45, 47. I did the same thing from the front edge of that parking lot all the way to Coronado, another 47. In the Caltrans right away, you could see 30. And all of those would be affected by the class 2 bicycle lanes. That is, they would need to go away potentially. Then you have in the dirt parking lot, roughly 45 cars parking there, and that's an area that's been used a lot for many, many years. And then the same for parking on Obispo Street. So those are all summaries there. Now, looking at this, and I took a look at current beach access. In the study from the county for the coastal development permit, they did not give heavy emphasis to parking or access for the beach parking. I did notice there at the very end of the report, there was a comment from Chanda Singh, the planner, and she commented that both Connect the Coast side and a study referred to as the safety and mobility studies did have things that related to parking. I don't know that they looked at it too closely because now I'll give you a peek at what was there. Next slide. Okay. This slide right here shows you the overall Surfers Beach access, and you'll see up in the upper left, that's the dirt parking lot, the fire station is there, etc. Next slide. So the safety and mobility study was done in two portions, one in 2010, one in 2012. This is the 2012 version. What it does here is identify parking opportunities and discusses those. So in particular, this right here, that's the dirt parking lot that exists. Over here was a new parking lot that was proposed as a possibility. And then the diagonal parking along the highway was also called out, and that's this stretch right here. Okay, so those were three different major parking areas that were there, just to point out what was done. Now here in the coast side, Connect the Coast side, they had a map for our area. In the map, they called out different things like a parking study right there in the Surfers Beach area. They also talked about the proposed multimodal trail along there. And so that being said, although this was in 2022, we're now in 2024. There was no parking study ever done to date, and nor has there been any work on the multimodal trail from there. That also goes through the Caltrans right away. So it's an area that has the potential for parking. In the 2012 study, they looked at that as an area where you might drive off the road and go there. In the world of the class 2 bicycle lane, to get to that, next slide, please. You would need to basically come down to the end of one word. Well, you have to go down to Obispo, Coronado, and come up here in Obispo to get through it. Now we get to the next thing. This is the GCSD project for a community center and a park. And I've taken an overlay design just to highlight two things. So this is a Google Earth picture. This is an overlay. They're proposing to have the new parking lot sitting here. That would be brand new. And the area that's currently the dirt parking lot would be converted to a riparian area. That is, after that parking lot would go away.
Much smaller than parking lot, much smaller.
Right, okay. So that's what they've done there. This is a comment from Nancy Marsh, the current president of the board, and expressing to Caltrans a hope that they could find a way to work with parking, that they had intentions of using that area for the riparian area. Okay. So these are the problems that have come up. And basically going back now, about 3 slides or 4 slides, keep going back right here. So this area, I showed in the earlier slide how heavily traffic this area can get when it's a really heavy day. This is a little bit more normal day. So you do see cars now gravitating to park near Coronado, where there's a crosswalk. And as well as erosion, this is probably the best place to get to it. Here's your dirt parking lot, your Caltrans right away. So in the discussion at the yesterday's session with the Half Moon Bay Planning Commission, people asked a bit about some aspects that had to do with parking, things that might be done by Caltrans. And they commented that the city of Half Moon Bay had done a parking study, so there were certain ways that they might help with that. Here on the coast, there was no parking study ever done, so Caltrans is nothing to contribute at this point. So I just wanted to make you aware of this. I believe that they go ahead and have you set up a meeting for the GCSD to come?
Not yet, but I will reach out.
Okay, we targeted that possibly in the next meeting in April. That's for you to hear more about the park. The bottom line is, and now if you go all the way back about 6 slides. Right here, right here. So these areas here are scheduled to go away. This is the Caltrans right away. It's available, but not without doing work to provide access to it. And that would probably have to be on a dispo to get down there. So that's not the problem as we sit. The county basically adopted the project and promoted that forward. So it's, and then there's one appeal filed. So that's it, the coastal commission.
The multi-asset roadway rehabilitation project, that's the one they adopted.
Correct. Okay.
Which is complicated, but the specific on this map is the bike lanes and a do away of parking on the highway.
That's correct. Okay. So I just wanted to leave you here. You might talk about it later in the meeting, but I wanted to get the slides for everybody to see. Thank you.
So my question is actually thoughts. You want me to go ahead and?
Yes.
I'm just a little confused, and Lynn, by the way, that's very helpful and interesting information. I think there's 2 points of clarity that you're commenting on behalf of yourself.
Yes.
Because you said we several times, so just to be clear. And then that was pretty much a presentation during public comment, and it's a little unusual, and I wonder if there's another way to do something like this as opposed to having it during public comment period.
Yeah, I know Len was gonna be gone for the next several meetings, so just wanted to get it out there.
Okay.
Yeah, but you would put that in section, in item 5 is area where you could have discussion.
Because I could see that, if we had several people come and decide they want to give us presentations ad hoc, that presents a problem.
Yes.
Okay, so then I have another process question when we're done with the.
Okay, awesome. All right, do we have any other public comments on items not on the agenda? Carl?